Welcome to MogulCast, where we uncover the stories behind the world's greatest business empires. Let's get into today's story.
June 2024. A single earthquake rocks Taiwan. Within hours, stock markets from New York to Tokyo plunge. Not because of the quake itself, but because of one factory. TSMC, the world's most advanced chip maker, halts production. Phones, cars, data centers, even fighter jets, all grind to a halt. $500 billion in market value, and the entire global economy held hostage by a company most people have never heard of. This is the full story, and it is worse than you think. 1987. Taiwan is a backwater in the tech world. The US and Japan dominate semiconductors. Morris Chang, a 56-year-old engineer with a failed career at Texas Instruments, is handed a mission: build a chip factory from scratch. But there's a catch. Taiwan has no infrastructure, no talent pool, and no customers. Most experts call it impossible. Chang, however, has one advantage. He's already failed enough times to know how to win. We will come back to one specific decision. It is the key to everything. Chang's gamble? Pure play foundry. A factory that makes chips for others, not its own products. At the time, this was unthinkable. Intel, IBM, and Texas Instruments all designed and manufactured their own chips. But Chang saw a future where companies like Apple and Nvidia would need a specialist. The risk? If no one came, TSMC would collapse before it even started. But in 1994, one company took the bait. Qualcomm bid on. The impossible factory had its first customer. 2001. The dot-com bubble bursts. Tech giants slash orders. TSMC's revenue collapses by 40%. Most startups would fold. But Chang does the unthinkable. He doubles down. While competitors cut R&D, TSMC invests $1 billion into next-generation chips. The bet pays off. By 2005, TSMC is the only company capable of making the chips Apple needs for the iPhone. When the first iPhone launches in 2007, TSMC is inside. The impossible factory is now indispensable. 2010s. TSMC's dominance becomes absolute. By 2018, it controls over 50% of the global foundry market. By 2020, that number jumps to 56%. Dodgeball. Apple, Nvidia, AMD, Qualcomm, every major tech company depends on TSMC's factories. The company's market cap soars past $300 billion. But not everyone is celebrating. In Washington and Beijing, alarms are ringing. The world's most critical technology is controlled by a single company, in a country no one fully trusts. Here's what the media completely got wrong about TSMC. It's not just a chip factory. It's a fortress. TSMC doesn't just make chips, it perfects them. While competitors like Intel and Samsung split their focus between design and manufacturing, TSMC does one thing: build the world's best chips. And it spends more on R&D than most countries. In 2023 alone, TSMC poured $36 billion into new technology. That's more than the GDP of 80 nations. The strategy works until it doesn't. By 2024, TSMC's dominance creates a single point of failure. Over 90% of the world's advanced chips come from its factories in Taiwan. And Taiwan sits on the edge of a geopolitical powder keg. China claims the island as its own. The US depends on it for military tech. Japan, South Korea, and Europe rely on it for cars and phones. One misstep, a war, a blockade, even a natural disaster, and the global economy could collapse overnight. April 3rd, 2024. A 7.4 magnitude earthquake strikes Taiwan. TSMC's factories shut down. Within hours, shares of Apple, Nvidia, and AMD drop by billions. The world realizes we are all hostages to one company. TSMC scrambles to restart production. but the damage is done. The crisis exposes a terrifying truth. No one has a backup plan. Not the US, not China, not even TSMC itself. The US panics. In 2022, Congress passes the CHIPS Act, pouring $52 billion into domestic chipmaking. But by 2024, Intel's new factories are years behind schedule. TSMC's Arizona plant, announced with fanfare, is delayed until at least 2025. Meanwhile, China accelerates its own chip industry, spending over $150 to catch up. Achati. The race is on, but no one is winning. And if you've made it this far, you already understand something most analysts completely missed. TSMC isn't just a company. It's the most dangerous monopoly in history. The crisis deepens. In 2023, TSMC's revenue drops for the first time in a decade. The reason? AI chips toll. Nvidia's demand for TSMC's most advanced chips skyrockets, but the company can't keep up. Customers like Apple and AMD are forced to wait. The bottleneck isn't just a business problem, it's a national security threat. The US military depends on TSMC for its most advanced weapons. If Taiwan falls, the Pentagon loses its edge. The world is running out of time. TSMC's legacy is already written. It didn't just build a factory, it built the foundation of the modern world. Every smartphone, every electric car, every AI breakthrough runs on TSMC's chips. But its greatest achievement is also its greatest risk. The company's dominance has made it too big to fail and too big to save. If TSMC collapses, the tech industry doesn't just slow down, it stops. Remember that decision we mentioned at the start? The one that made TSMC possible? Pure Play Foundry wasn't just a business model, it was a trap. By becoming the world's factory, TSMC made itself indispensable. But it also made itself a target. The US wants to break its monopoly. China wants to control it. And Taiwan, it's caught in the middle. The decision that saved TSMC may ultimately destroy it. TSMC's impact is everywhere. Over 1,600 companies depend on its chips. Its factories produce more than 13 million wafers a year. The company's market cap exceeds $500 billion, larger than Intel, Samsung, and AMD combined. But its real power isn't in the numbers. It's in the fact that without TSMC, the modern world doesn't function. And that power comes with a price. The entire global economy is one earthquake, one war, or one blockade away from collapse. The lesson? Monopolies aren't just bad for competition. They're dangerous for the world. TSMC's story isn't just about a company. It's about what happens when one factory becomes the linchpin of the global economy. The US and China are now locked in a race to break its grip. But the real question isn't who wins, it's what happens if no one does. Because if TSMC falls, we all fall with it. If you want to understand how this pattern repeats across every major business collapse, the next video covers a story with disturbing parallels. That one is next.
That's the story for today on MogulCast. If you found this valuable, subscribe and hit the bell. A new Empire story drops every single weekday. See you tomorrow.